you today and to participate in this discussion. And as you mentioned, I heard it's a 100th episode. I am very fortunate to participate today. Maybe it just happened like that. So, talking about my childhood, in fact, I was born in central Kerala in a district Kottayam. I am from a ordinary background where I am from a village, and my father was a farmer. He used to have agriculture was the basics of how we used to earn and support our family. And I have four brothers and two sisters, like all put together we had seven children. And my father and mother used to look after us in the childhood. So initially I went to government schools in the primary. Actually till 7th standard I was studying in ordinary Malayalam medium school. But in the 7th standard, I was very fortunate that I got one Government of India scholarship, wherein it's called the Merit Scholarship, where I got an opportunity to study in residential school. Those days we were taken to the public school, and the entire funding or the cost was borne by the Government of India. So I was one of those fortunate scholars.
Mr. Tom, I would like to stop you here. I just want to know, up to 7th, as you mentioned, that your father and mother, they have in the agriculture, and you are 7 brothers and sisters. How difficult the time you spend in the initial stage of up to 7th standard, because you were 7 plus 2, 9, at least 9 or 10 people in your household with a farming income only. Then, and you are studying in a government school. Was it a difficult thing or not? Or the farming income was that much that you have no problem, you have faced no problem?
I think it was a tough time we had, but then for me, I didn't know much about how difficult it was, because as children, as long as you get your food, as long as your books are taken care of, you're going to the school. I don't think I bothered much at that point of time. How was the struggle? But today, when I look back, I'm sure it must have been a big struggle for my father those days. And I used to think this is what life is all about. I didn't know what is the difference between me living at home with so many people, and we used to sleep in the same room, 3, 4 of us. It didn't make much of a difference to me at that point of time. Today, when I'm looking back, I feel, yes, that was pretty tough those days if I'm looking from my position today. But then I think I used to enjoy those days, going to the school, playing around, not bothered. Nobody was asking me what grades you got, as long as you passed your exams. In fact, there was one incident which I would like to narrate, since you put me back into there. When I was studying in the 3rd standard, I used to have a teacher called Mr. Narayanan. I still remember him. I can see his image in front of me. And he called my father to the school one day, and he told my father, this boy studies well, so you please take care of him. And I was initially thinking I would have done some mischief, and he is going to call and tell my father that he has done something wrong. But it was the other way. It really changed the way I started attending the school. In fact, the whole I became more serious. Those days I was pushed from the back bench to the front bench, because this teacher came into my life, and he started noticing me and taking care of me from time to time, which made a huge difference in the way I approached, or I was taken care of. Probably my confidence level, my studies, everything changed a lot. That probably is the reason why I was able to take this scholarship examination and pass that also, which happened in the 7th standard. Another influence was my eldest brother, who was a teacher actually, who was already a school teacher, and he used to really notice and support me. Like whenever I wanted to write an exam or anything, he used to support me also. I think these are the two things which really had an influence during that time. But if you ask me how tough life was, I'm not too sure how tough it was, because as long as my food and other things were taken care of, I think I was a happy guy.
Yes. Mr. Tom, you rightly said that somebody comes in your life and give a positive thinking to you. You might not be that much intelligent as before when he mentioned, but once he mentioned, then you have taken the studies more seriously, and you wanted to prove that, yes, what he said, I will prove that. So that is a very, very positive approach. Now, once you got the scholarship, And you said that you have gone to a residential school. Where it was, and how difficult or how easy your life after that?
I was first in Loyola School Trivandrum, which was a boarding school which was run by the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit fathers, which was like one of the best schools even today. In fact, this year they are celebrating the 60th anniversary of the school, but well taken care of school. But initially, since I shifted from a Malayalam medium into an English medium school, it was pretty tough for me in the first 1 year at least, I would say. In fact, I used to cry as because I was not understanding what was happening in the classroom when I reached the school. But we were, I think, about 12 or 14 of us who joined at the same time. So, and they used to give us a special tuition for English because in the school everything happened in English. There was no question of anybody talking in Malayalam, or we were not even allowed to interact in Malayalam, so that we will pick up English as a language. But initially it was tough, but later on I think it became not so difficult for me to follow. Of course, there
But
was
when you shifted to the residential boarding, you have not missed your house or your parents or your siblings or your the class or your school, the earlier school, or it was a very easy transition?
not at all. I think that part I missed. In fact, I missed the home so much. We were allowed to write one letter every week to home. That was the communication. And the parents or your siblings could write back to us. That was the only form of communication those days. I still remember in the first month, maybe after 1 week or 2 week in the school, I wrote to my father saying that please take me back. I am not feeling too good. I am missing my family. I don't think I'll be able to adjust. On top of that, the pressure of learning English language, not able to communicate properly. And, I had this feeling that I am not so good because the rest of the people, in the classroom, maybe 3 or 4 of us were the new ones. The rest of them are all from maybe first standard onwards studying same way, didn't have friends for some time. It took a lot of time for me to really get adjusted to that kind of an environment. But I think it was a good change and a very
But was,
positive
was
one.
was there any discrimination about you among the other students, because you are coming from a Malayalam Malayalam speaking school, but not from the English speaking? So they were making some comments, or you have been discarded? Okay, no, he's a person, he's not a friend to be made, like that. Some discrimination has was there at that time?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I have never experienced that because rather I would say the teachers and the other students were very supportive because they always thought that we were called scholars, and the scholars were like people who have come from a special, they have something better than the rest of the class. That was the kind of image we had created. And there were seniors to us. So there was always a group of people in the boarding also was there. So I don't think that was an issue at all. And the school was, the teachers, the principal, all of them used to really take care of us well.
So this school was up to which class?
Up to 10th.
Okay, after that?
After that, 2 years again, the scholarship was available, but the school did not have 11th and 12th. In fact, I was sent to Patiala, Yadavindra Public School, Patiala. It is called YPS Patiala. Now you must be wondering, I did not learn Hindi. Of course, I did not learn
Patiala
Hindi.
is in North India. That's what I was wondering. Okay, how come when you have reached to Patiala and you have not picked up Hindi? Yes, tell us some experience there.
I went to 11th and 12th. I spent in Patiala and in the boarding again. It was a real change for me from Kerala going to
it might be
Punjab.
very, very, very challenging, because once you are traditionally from Malayalam
Yes.
medium and then to English medium only in Kerala, and then from Kerala to Patiala at that time, it is not easy. So how you cope up?
I think somewhere in my mind, I knew that if you do, work hard, it's an opportunity for me. That thing was there in the back of my mind always. So I should not miss this opportunity. So I took it as a challenge probably. And, I told my parents I want to go there. And they immediately made sure that my brother traveled with me and put me in the boarding. And there were four of us from the same school who had traveled to the same institution. So that way, we had a gang of four, and so it was kind of, as a group, I think we found it much easier to survive there, because we were, at least I had friends along with me. But of course,
But
it was a cultural
the
change.
but what about the food? Because there is a lots of difference in the food habits, what you are eating in Kerala and what they are eating in Punjab.
To be honest with you, I really loved the Punjabi food. In fact, for me, it was not a difficulty at all. Even now, I really like Punjabi food, and not because I did not have any difficulty adjusting to the food there. I think that was not an issue at all. And culturally, yes, there was a lot of challenges, because the Punjabi culture is very different from ours. But one good thing is that they used to give us that kind of a privilege, because there were not many Malayalis or Keralites in that school as students. At best, I think there were a lot of people from the defense background. Parents were defense background, and who used to come and study there. That was also not too many. So we were quite privileged, and we joined 11th standard. So in the boarding, like seniors, so we had a lot of freedom. We could do, we were considered as seniors in the school. So that way, I think it was a very, very
Okay, so
interesting 2 years we spent.
after these 2 years, what you have done?
After that, again, I went back and did my graduation in chemistry. Again, back to Kerala, my native place. I used to stay at home and studied in a local college, which was because I wanted to. I did not get into engineering at that time. That was one which I tried, but somewhere I did not apply to the right college or whatever it is. I missed it. But then I did not take it as a negative factor. So in the college, I did my chemistry BSc and did very well. In fact, I passed out with very high scores in the chemistry, and during that time I decided that I should go for my MBA. So I started preparing for that.
But why? How? Who inspired you to do the MBA? Your family, or you yourself wanted to do the MBA?
I think I chose myself. In fact, I tell you the real. I have a story on this. When I was studying in Patiala, we used to go in the train. First we'll go to Delhi, and from there we used to take the train to Punjab, Patiala. So when we were traveling in the train one time, I found one person who was doing his MBA, or he had done his MBA in somewhere in the north. I think it was in Aligarh Muslim AMU, Muslim University. And he was, interacting with us, and we were four of us in the same compartment, and there were a lot of other people. Suddenly, I found this gentleman to be like running the show in around that 8 or 10 people. So I kind of asked him, like, what are you doing? And he started telling about MBA and all that. I think that really triggered in me, why not do MBA? It may help. And
So from where you have done the MBA?
I did from Cochin University. Now it's called Cochin University
So MBA
of
in
Science
finance.
and Technology.
MBA in
No,
finance.
it was a general
Then?
MBA I did. In fact, I'm a marketing guy. I'm not a finance guy, to be honest.
Okay.
So I
it
started
was
my career in marketing, and then later shifted to finance.
Okay. So now, once you have done your MBA, afterwards, what you have done?
I got a campus placement. In fact, I joined a company called Usha Microprocess Controls, which was selling computers those days. So I started my career as a first line sales executive for selling computers. But what happened is, within 1.5 years of me joining that company closed down suddenly because of some financial issues and all that. Then that point, I got a job in Jagged Tires. The same, I used to stay with somebody who used to work in Jagged Tires, and he referred me to Jagged Tires, and I got a job there. So not thinking about what shifting of industry, since it was convenient, and Jagged Tires was a very well-known company at that time. So I had this bad experience of working with a company which suddenly closed down. They stopped giving salaries and all that. I shifted to Jagged Tires. Again, I was in sales. I was the sales officer. I was looking after Central Kerala at that time, based in Cochin office. So later, from Jagged Tires, I went to a company called Rashtradibiya Limited, which is into publication. It's a media house where I joined as a marketing manager. because I found that it is a very challenging job, and which had a, in terms of the content of the job, I really liked it. So I shifted to media.
But it was totally different job, because you were initially selling the computers, then the tires, and then you have shifted to a media house.
I think it's all in the mind. Like if you really want to do something, you can really pick it up. It's not a very difficult task at all. It's probably a matter of 2 to 3 months before you get into the rhythm of what is that product, what you're planning to sell, how you can go about doing it, and what are the parameters which really what are the things which you have to look at so that it will get customers, more and more customers. So I think I was able to adapt to that situation. I think which is something which I would tell any person who is looking at a career, that adaptability to the situation in front of us is very, very important, because if you don't have that, it's very difficult, because every company you get into, every situation you get into, even within the same company, it can suddenly change. Like last 1.5 years, what we are 2 years we are experiencing is unless we adapt to the situation, it's very difficult to manage.
Yes.
So I think
So
that
in
way
that,
I was able to
yes,
manage.
yes. So in that company of media, how many years you spent?
I was there for 5 years, from 91 to 96. Then in 1996, I left the company. Yeah. And I joined Tata Finance. Tata Finance
Okay.
in the Chennai office.
So now from sales to marketing, now to finance.
Yeah. Sorry, not Tata Finance. I first joined Sriram Investments, Sriram
Okay.
Transport Finance Company. I was based out of Cochin. I was a regional manager for Kerala.
And then you joined the Tata Finance.
Yes, from Sriram, I joined Tata Finance. Yes.
Okay. And for how long?
In Tata Finance, I was there for 7 years. I first joined as area manager for Tamil Nadu. Then later, I became the general manager South, like looking after the entire southern region. And then I was promoted as a product head for All India product manager for MEV Finance, based out of Bombay. So from there, I moved to Middle East.
So what makes you to move to the Middle East when you are enjoying such a big position in Tata Finance, and now you are looking the entire country as a product head?
In fact, to be honest with you, I was, we were in Bombay, and me and my family, we went to Bombay looking for places to stay and, looking for admission for my children. And we spent about a week in Bombay looking at various options for school admissions and the accommodation in those places. Having lived in Chennai, Cochin, Chennai, and Bangalore, and looking at accommodation available in Bombay, that was one of triggering factor. And at the same time, I got this opportunity from Muscat, saying that there is an opening like this, please come for the interview. In fact, I went for the interview in Muscat when I was in Bombay, looking for this.
You were selected at that time.
Yes, I got selected, and then it was a choice between whether I should look at this position here or I should look for a position in Muscat. And the position which was offered to me was also very challenging, because this company was just taking off. It was started in 2004 and I joined in 2006. So the portfolio which was given to me was pretty low, small. And I felt this is where I can really do something to build up a organization.
So you have taken the challenge and you have gone there, and we know now that you have taken the company. The company has gone so many.
Yes.
Company has achieved in such a big way. So when you look back, don't you think sometimes you feel so many changes, and you have done from one to other, the other, third one, fourth one? Have you ever regretted for these changes, that why you have taken this job, why not that?
I don't think so. I think, see, every job has its own challenges, and every time you take a change, definitely there is a period where you have to really struggle to establish yourself. So, but if you really think you cannot do it, there's no point in going there. I don't think I have ever regretted that I've done a change and it has not helped me. There were times when it was really tough. For example, when I moved to the media from JK, it was really a struggle for me to establish myself. The company was not doing too well. But I think it took maybe a year or two for the company to start doing well, and for me also to get myself established. But looking back, the kind of learning which I had from these experiences really has helped me in my personality, the way I work, to be more, accommodative, to be more understanding, to be more adaptive to the situations, and which are, I think, critical in any job or any person's growth, because nothing comes easy. If we assume something is easy, I don't think it's going to work out. Everywhere you'll
So,
have to struggle.
yeah, when you are talking about the media, now recently you have started interacting very actively almost every week. You are interacting with different personalities from the across the India, and in which you are coming out with a series which has been telecast by Global TV and others. What is your experience in that, and how you got the motivation to start that type of program? Because in media you left so early, now you are in Muscat doing lots of things for marketing, finance and sales. You are looking after almost everything, and now you are again coming back for interacting. What was the reason to start that?
See, first of all, I wouldn't say ever left media as such, because media is required wherever you work, whatever profession you do, whichever area you work, media is essential. And unless you deal with media or we understand media, we cannot go forward. And then second aspect is I am part of this movement called Toastmasters, which is like learning leadership and communication. So I've been always engaged in either getting trained or training people. So this was always there with me. Thirdly, in communication, one of the important aspect is like interpersonal, or you communicate with individuals and get the best out of them. I mean, it's also part of our learning. Now, this new venture, which or new thing which has come in, is the discussions on leadership. So I am very much interested, and I'm a student of leadership for many years. In fact, I always think one of the most challenging thing our society faces, and in our amongst us, in whether it's organization, the uh, in our society or outside, the most challenging thing is leadership. So I thought it will be very interesting to bring out something what leaders are done differently to make them what they are. So the suggestion came from Mr. Paulos, who is the chairman of Global TV. He said, "Sir, why don't you do something, because you have been always associated with media." Then this idea came that why don't we interview some people and have a discussion with them on leadership. So from this, slowly we evolved. It took a lot of time. I think more than a year and a half we were discussing. Suddenly, I
But
think
I must congratulate you, Mr. Tom, that you have inspired me, because I was doing the media conference, as you know,
yes,
media conference with
yes, yes,
Lal every day in the morning. You
yes,
also appeared in that as a panelist. But
yes, yes.
once I received a call from Mr. Paulus, and he says that Mr. Tom would like to have a interaction with you on the leadership, which I said, no, it's not possible, because I neither am a leader nor I am, because I'm not having that type of background that I must claim that I'm a leader. But he insisted, and then you also called and you said, no, we want to do this thing. And when you have taken my interview, I still remember that time I was giving the interview. At that time only, I realized, why not I start something different, not on the leadership, but about the autobiography of the person. And that's why this Kal Aaj Aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang started. And today, as you have mentioned initially, yes, we are very fortunate that today is the 100th episode, which we are, and that's why I must congratulate and give thanks to you. It is because of you that this Kal Aaj Aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang started, because of you and because of Mr. Paulus of Global TV, as well as with the support of V4NEWS. And today is the 100th episode, and we are lucky to have you on our show. Now, because of the paucity of time, what message you would like to give to the young generation? Because many times youth says that they are directionless, and especially after during the COVID, what message you would like to give to them?
See, I think youth are not directionless. I don't agree to that point of view. Of course, people have different points of view. They are definitely direction. one of the things I feel the youth should engage themselves is how to communicate effectively. This is something which we miss out because we are so much of information which is coming around us, so much of communication which is happening around us, but the right communication, how to do it effectively, is one of the things which I think youth should be trained in, and what they should put effort to learn. Second aspect which I think is the youth should have confidence but never have overconfidence. I find many of the youth how I come across, either they lack confidence or they are overconfident. What
Okay.
we need is a realistic approach to
Yeah.
handling a situation or a position. So I
Okay.
think these two things
Yes.
is what
Okay.
I would give it as a message.
Time forbids us. So many things we would like to know. Such an experienced person who has started his career from the very, very humble beginning and who has reached on the top, and still his quench. The thrust has not been this thing, and he's still trying to come out and give more to the society. This shows the real leadership quality in what we have seen when Mr. Tom. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom. And today's program has been live telecasted. आज का जो प्रोग्राम है कल आज और कल लाल गोयल के संग का सीधा प्रसारण V4 न्यूज ग्लोबल टीवी V4 स्ट्रीम न्यूज गांव से संवाद सारोकार न्यूज के अलावा यूट्यूब एवं फेसबुक पे भी किया गया. And today's program is such a program. I can just say one thing, that although today we have completed 100th episode, but till now I have not felt something that I am doing something great. It is not great. Rather, I want to serve the pupil. So if anyone who feels that he knows somebody, or he himself or herself want to showcase his or her own life story, please come forward, a message to either a V4 News portal or the Global TV News portal. So we'll take you and we will ask very, very simple questions about yourself. And I can once again thanks Mr. Tom for coming on our show and giving such a good his own life journey, although he was the inspiration for this Kal Aaj Aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom, and thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am privileged. Thank you, Mr. Goel.